Well, the Lakers officially sold to Mark Walter last week, now becoming the majority owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. And with his newfound power, he's wasted no time making some major changes. As if you have not heard, he pretty much fired the entirety of their scouting department, which did in fact include both Joey and Jesse Buss, children of the late great Dr. Jerry Buss, 20 years younger than Jeannie Buss for both pretty much Joey and Jesse. Eventually, they thought they were going to inherit the Lakers and eventually become the majority owners of the Lakers, but now they find themselves unemployed by the Lakers. In a pretty shocking twist, they've now been fired. Not only that, but again, the entirety of their scouting department mid-season with the Lakers has now been terminated by Mark Walter, who will likely bring in his own personnel, maybe even some upgrades with it, is not afraid to dish out a check or two. After all, he made the biggest sports purchase, at least in the NBA of all time, buying the Lakers for over $10 billion. So I doubt he'll be afraid to replace them and get pretty spendy to replace them. But nonetheless, there's plenty of drama and backlash that came with it, directly from both Joey and Jesse Buss. Talking to Shams Charania yesterday following their termination, really citing some drama with both Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka, the entirety of the Lakers front office at this point, siding even with the guy who fired them, Mark Walter, and dishing out some pretty interesting information regarding their late time with the Lakers, how distant they had become from both Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka, the disconnect between them, and the likely changes that probably will be made in the future regarding everything Lakers front office. So here's what Shams had to say regarding his talk with Joey Buss and the really interesting details that came with it.
Mark Walter has taken control of these Lakers, and they are making some serious front office restructurings and changes. Sources tell me that the Lakers have fired, effective immediately, 2 minority owners as well as leading basketball executives in Joey and Jesse Buss. Most of the front office scouting department has been fired today. And you think about just going back to when Mark Walter took over, possibly these changes were on the horizon eventually. Jeannie Buss has stayed on as the governor. But Joey and Jesse Buss, interestingly, were the 2 siblings that voted against the sale of the $10 billion sale of the Los Angeles Lakers to Mark Walter. And they have been responsible. They've been at the key center of the Lakers scouting department. Think about players like Austin Reeves, Alex Caruso, Kyle Kuzma, Julius Randle, on and on and on. And I just spoke to Jesse Buss today, and he told me it was Dr. Buss's idea for Joey and I to run basketball operations one day, but Jeannie has effectively kept herself in place with her siblings fired. Wow.
You know, if I had to sum that up with one word, I'd probably go with yikes. I mean, talk about family drama here. 2 guys that have now been fired and 2 guys that thought they would eventually inherit the franchise are now not even a part of it. Not only that, but 2 guys that are actually pretty damn good at their jobs with the Los Angeles Lakers. If you're not familiar with who they are or what they did, between both Joey and Jesse Buss, they pretty much ran the Lakers scouting department, a lot of things draft personnel, also had a hand in running the South Bay Lakers, the Lakers G League team, also had a hand in with the general manager duties. One of them was actually the assistant general manager to Rob Pelinka, which apparently didn't include very much with him, but those were the titles they had and kind of the jobs they had and what they did for the Lakers. And in my opinion, they were pretty good at what they did, or I guess what they were allowed to do. If we're simply talking about the scouting department and the players they found in the past decade, they've done pretty well in my opinion. Yes, there are definitely a few misses along that way, including everyone from Maxwell Lewis, Jalen Hood-Schifino, who reports say they maybe did not want, and maybe that was more so Rob Pelinka and maybe even Jeannie Buss. Regardless, they've had a few misses, but a whole lot more hits in my opinion. Dating all the way back to 2015, we got guys like Jordan Clarkson, a late 2nd round draft pick, then in 2015 also drafting Larry Nance Jr. in the late 1st round as a 27th overall draft pick, then in 2017 drafting Kyle Kuzma, 27th overall pick again, drafting Josh Hart that same year with the 30th overall draft pick, drafting Ivica Zubats in 2016 with the 32nd overall draft pick, then drafting Thomas Bryant 42nd overall in the 2017 overall draft, drafting Mo Wagner in the 2018 NBA draft with their 25th overall draft pick, drafting Max Christie in 2022 with the 35th overall draft pick, not to mention the many undrafted gems they found, including everyone from Lakers legend Alex Caruso, my GOAT, even all the way down to current Laker Austin Reeves back in 2021, even some guys that are no longer Lakers but continue to play in the NBA like both Jay Huff and Scottie Pippen Jr. You know, they really had plenty of success at what they did, and the Lakers owe them a lot for even their current team right now. Not only with a current player like Austin Reeves, who's really having a breakout year, currently being top 8 in both points per game and assists per game this season, but even for what it took to acquire Luka Doncic, including both Anthony Davis and a guy they directly took in the second round with Max Christie, even what it took to get Anthony Davis and what they later traded Anthony Davis for, again Luka Doncic, all the way back in 2019, trading the combination of Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, even guys like Josh Hart to get him. You know, a lot of that goes back to the late round draft success from both Joey and Jesse Buss, what they were able to do and the contributions they made to the team. I don't think they necessarily deserve to be fired. I think they definitely had a large hand in the Lakers being where they're at and actually being in a pretty good spot right now. I definitely am not a huge fan of them being fired. I'm not entirely opposed to, replacing or more expanding their scouting department. I'm all in for that, but I don't think firing them in itself was a good move for their team. If anything, I would have liked them to take the Jeannie Buss route to where they're keeping her on for a few years in that governor quote-unquote position. You know, maybe keep around both Joey and or Jesse Buss in a head of scouting department kind of group, something to oversee the new people they hired for that department. Not saying that Mark Walter can't find somebody else to do that, but with how good they've been at their job and all the late round draft picks they found, the scouting in general that they've done, I think they've been pretty good and didn't necessarily deserve to be outright fired. And well, like I said, they definitely are going out swinging, not holding back and dropping a lot of secrets, or how they felt about the franchise and the front office with their time with it, especially regarding the past couple of years now. In regard to Jesse Buss, he had quite a lot to say. Everything regarding his sister Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, the team and how it's been run in the past few years in general. He had quite a few quotes they dropped. One of which from Jesse Buss saying, quote unquote, "I kind of felt silo quite a bit, dating back to before the 2023 draft, and I kind of didn't think much of it, but as time went on and there was a lack of communication between not only my sister and I, but the organization as a whole, while I was combating various health issues, I kind of felt like the writing was on the wall." And then another quote he had really talking about Jeannie Buss and the Lakers front office and now his outside perspective on it, saying that, "I hope that Mark can bring a lot of what he brought to the Dodgers, because I think if the vision is the same for what I've seen over the last 10 years, then it necessarily isn't always going to lead to the success that Laker fans have become accustomed to." And well, he then finished up by taking a final shot at his older sister, saying, quote unquote, "Dr. Buss's idea was for Joey and I to run basketball operations one day, but Jeannie has effectively kept herself in place, with her siblings fired." So yeah, I think we can confidently say that he's probably not too happy with his older sister. They've definitely become disconnected at this point, and well, I think a lot of changes might be on the horizon for not only Joey and Jesse, but possibly for Jeannie and maybe Rob Pelinka down the road too. After all, if Mark Walter waited literally 1 week to make this kind of change, literally in the mid-season and with Lakers needing their scouting department, after all, they do have one spot left on their roster at this point, need some free agent scouting and league-wide scouting. They do have a first-round draft pick next year, need some draft scouting that should be going on right now, so they do have to get that back in place pretty quick. If he's not afraid to do that and make that big of a change right now, then he's probably not afraid to make some big changes when the offseason officially hits and he's the majority owner of the team for it too. In fact, it might not even and probably won't even take that long. And no, I'm not necessarily talking about Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, any more big changes to their front office, but maybe directly to their team. I mean, I guarantee with all the big names that he's brought to the Dodgers, he probably wants to have the same kind of thing with the Lakers. Yes, they currently have LeBron, Luka Doncic, 2 international superstars, and 2 guys that bring a ton of outside revenue and attention to their team, but I imagine Mark Walter wants to bring in one for himself. They were both brought in before he came here and he's kind of just taking over with it, but he probably wants to put his stamp on it too. Adding another star or some big name player to them, maybe simply changing up the team and doing something under his ownership group, whether that be a big trade, multiple medium to bigger size trades, or simply a trade or bigger free agent signing in general. I imagine that he's probably chomping at the bit to make that kind of move, bring somebody in that's under his ownership group and with their front office now being in place to make that move, I definitely think that he wants to do it, and I think the likelihood of them making a trade, making some bigger transaction, just went up a whole lot with Mark Walter now at the helm. And well, that definitely could be for better or worse going forward. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see how this move pays off. If he wants to upgrade the scouting department and maybe put some more money into it, yes, that might help, but it was already pretty good to begin with. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't work out, maybe his next moves that come after this will work out, but we simply have to wait and see, and I guess kind of watch how he methodically plans it out, little by little, all the changes that he'll make, and evaluate their current team and how he wants it to operate going forward. It should be very interesting to watch play out, but I'm not ready to say if it's a good thing or bad thing quite yet. I guess we have to simply watch and let the fireworks go off with Mark Walter, as whatever he does, it should be a show going forward. But with all of that being said, what do you guys think? How do you feel about the major change that Mark Walter just made? How do you feel about the changes that he might make going forward? Will they include a big trade, a big signing, another big firing, maybe multiple of them, or simply what do you think he'll do? Let me know your thoughts and how you feel about the move he just made in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.